I want to break down the Baltimore Ravens 29-7 victory over the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. First of all, I'm going to talk about the defensive performance. The defense was superbly dominant yesterday. They sacked Matt Ryan 5 times, two from Elvis Dumerville, two from Pernell McPhee, and one which was a safety by Terrell Suggs. You know, Ter- Pernell McPhee is really come on this year. He sort of had to step up and become like an interior pass rushing threat that he was in his rookie year because the Ravens haven't had a lot of depth on the defensive line. I know Timmy Jernigan was injured first week of the season, and hopefully that he's coming back this week against the Bengals. And then of course Urban, the kid that they drafted out of Virginia, he tore his ACL in training camp, as did Capron Lewis Moore, who they were supposed to get some pro out of. He missed his rookie season last year, so that was excellent. The Ravens secondary performed much better than I expected. I mean, Jimmy Smith pretty much dominated Julio Jones, who really only did damage on one play, which was, I believe, a bubble screen. He had 4 catches for 56 yards, which is damn good. Like I said, he's one of the most explosive receivers. So when your secondary can limit a guy like that to such a small amount of numbers, it's very impressive. I mean, uh, Roddy White had I think about 6 or 7 catches for about 100 yards, but it was sort of like they knew Roddy White couldn't beat him himself if he got going, but you just couldn't let Julio Jones get going, and they were effective of neutralizing him. Um, the kid from Atlanta, Anton, I believe his name is Anton Smith. Um, they tried to throw screen passes to him a few times. He's had a few explosive plays on those plays. They did an excellent job of coming up and making a tackle. I want to say the Ladarius Webb made a tackle on him on 4th and 1 in the backfield. That was incredible. Webb looked great. I haven't seen him look this good since 2011, when I think he should, in my opinion, he should have went to the Pro Bowl. Um, as for the offense performed well. As I predicted, Flacco would do well. The running game was very effective. Justin Forsett had 23 carries for 95 yards. Um, Very effective, good enough to set up play action. They use a lot of play action passes. I noticed Flacco had decent numbers. He threw for about 260 yards, had about a 70% completion percentage, and he threw 2 interceptions, one of which I won't totally put on him. I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication between him and Torrey Smith, or Torrey Smith he didn't take the top off the coverage the way he was supposed to. But I think on that first interception Flacco threw, he could have done a better. Torrey Smith could have done a better job of becoming the defender on that play. He sort of let the ball fall right into Alfred's hands. On the second interception, Flacco, I don't know who he was throwing to. I don't know if someone ran the wrong route. It could have been. I know Steve Smith got into a fight on that play. You gotta love that. He really brings a amount of aggression and passion that this team was lacking in that wide receiver position last year. So I'm not going to beat up on Steve Smith. We all know who Steve Smith. He does what he does. Steve Smith gets into fights and skirmishes. That's what he does. In terms of special teams, I have some concerns, serious concerns about Jacoby Jones. I mean, this week he had another muff punt. Um, he had one against the Colts, which I think really killed any sort of chance of the Ravens winning that game or getting any type of momentum early on the road, because we know Harbaugh's teams are very on the road. If they don't get out to a good start, they struggle, and I think that play was symbolic of Harbaugh's, I guess, his struggles in terms of getting this team to go out and be aggressive on the road. Yesterday, luckily, that turnover didn't result in any points because the defense is playing lights out. So it wasn't really a big deal, but that's something you have to watch. I think Jacoby needs to take some time on the bench for a few weeks because he hasn't been effective returning the ball. He's muffing punts. He's not breaking any long runs on the return game. So I think maybe he needs a break for a couple weeks, and I want to see what Campanaro and Deontay Thompson can do back there. Obviously, Ladarius Webb, I don't want to see him back there because our secondary depth is very suspect. Although yesterday Dominique Franks performed pretty well, he dropped the interception, but several people in the secondary did, so I can't attack him personally for that. Going forward with this team, I think they have a chance of making some noise in the playoffs, but I'm not sure how they would stack up against the so-called elite teams in the NFL and the AFC, like Denver, San Diego. I think the Colts. I'm not sure about the Colts. I think they could beat the Colts. They played the Colts very competitively, despite playing very piss poor for 3.5 quarters. So I don't know. This team is it's a work in progress. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. As we found out with the Baltimore Ravens in the 2012 season, no one had predicted them to be Super Bowl champions. Everyone was hyping up the Houston Texans, Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers that year. So, and of course, the New England Patriots. So it's like I said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So things could change. They're getting a few guys back this week. I believe Eugene Monroe and possibly Kalechi Osemele. And yeah, so they're going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a wounded duck right now. They don't have AJ Green. They look pretty much listless against Indianapolis yesterday. I mean, they only had 126 yards total offense. I mean, against the Colts. I mean, the Colts defense is not. They're not the 85 Bears, but you should expect them to put up more numbers than that. I mean, um, it seemed like Hugh Jackson's play calling has gotten very predictable, and a lot of teams are prepared for their scheme, which is basically a lot of swing passes to the running backs and short passing, and they pretty much sat on all the passes to the tight end. I mean, Tyler Eifert is coming back soon for them, but I'm not sure. When a guy's out this week one and it's week one into week eight, how effective will he be? How good of game shape will he be? And those are questions that Cincinnati Bengals fans will have to ask themselves going forward. Um, of course, the Ravens are number one in the division now by a game. The Bengals defense, I'm not sure what happened, what's happening with them. I know Vontez Burfict has been having a lot of injuries, concussion issues. They can't stop the run. That's uncharacteristic of this Bengals defense over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, I know they lost Mike Zimmer to Minnesota. He's the head coach now, but I'm not understanding what's going on with them. I mean, they still have pretty much the same front four: Demata Pecco, Geno Atkins. They have Carlos Dunlap, and they lost Michael Johnson to Tampa Bay. But Gilberry is very good in his own right. So I'm not sure what's going on with them, but if it helps the Ravens, that's fine with me. Um, their secondary, I'm not sure what's going on with them either. They've been giving up big plays. That's pretty uncharacteristic to them. I'm not sure if Gunther Cunningham is not drawing up the correct schemes for his personnel. I'm not sure if he switched some things that Mike Zimmer was doing that were effective. I don't get their all 22 film, so I have to dig a little bit on that online. I'll do that in my next video before the game. Yeah, the Ravens. They're going back to the Ravens. They're a very well balanced team this year. This is probably the most balanced Ravens team they've had since 2011, when, in my opinion, they should have won the Super Bowl. But of course, Billy Cundiff choked that away. Yeah, but they are top ten in total defense, and they're number 8 in offense. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure if top 10 in total defense. I believe they are. It could be points. I know they're top 10 in scoring. They're number one in scoring differential, and they have a top 10 scoring offense and a top 10 scoring defense, which is that should tell you about the balance on this team. So going forward, as I said again, it's a work in progress. It's early in the season. We're not even at halfway point quite yet. So I'll be back probably Friday or Saturday with my next video, and I'll preview and break down that Bengals game. All right, YouTube. Have a good week.